Hi, for a long time now, the idea of a businessman or Rama deal, it was one of those things that was looked down upon or associated with a negative connotation. Fast forwards to about 10 years ago, and suddenly the modern day entrepreneur is being celebrated everywhere. Everybody is turning their hobbies and their activities into some sort of a business. Today on Money and Me, we are going to be diving into the topic of turning your passions into profit. This is Jane Mazimba on Money and Me, Live TV. Welcome. In studio today, I have two women. One we have already met, Mwaba Ngenda. She's a banking professional and a financial advisor. She has been a financial educator for the past 5 years, and she is the recipient of the 2019 Governor's Award for her work in the personal finance space. She is also a mother and a wife. Welcome, Mwaba.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back.
Yes. And then we have another new face to you, but an old face to me, Tamara Ziambo. She is the founder of Zuchi Natural Hair Products, or is it just natural products? She is also the co-founder of the I Blew It Nights. These happen at Bongo Hive. She has a background in organizational psychology or business psychology and practiced that for a number of years before she quit to go and do her own thing. So she is the epitome of somebody who turned her passion into profit. Welcome, Tamara.
Thank you.
I am excited to be here, and as I like to just dive right in, tell me, ladies, whichever one of you can pick it up first, what do you need to identify what your passion is?
Okay, so I am. It's a number of things. It's from asking yourself questions, introspecting, taking note of the things that you are interested in. Do you love to talk? Do you love? Do you love to run? What is it that you enjoy doing, right? So those are the things that you ask yourself, and eventually they will lead you to what you're passionate about. So this can take weeks, months, for some people years for you to discover those things or that one thing that you're passionate about.
Yeah, I think just to add on to what she had said, it's really also looking at what do you easily gravitate to. You know, like what easily comes to you without being asked, or more often, what do people ask you for the most? You know what I mean? So that's something you can now say, oh, okay, I'm being asked to do this, or I find myself doing, let's say, baking easily. You know, how can I then turn that to something that's profitable?
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe before we go and start talking about the profits, talk to me about the difference between passion and purpose.
Oh,
Too deep?
no, not at all. No. For me, actually, funny enough, I look at it as vocation and purpose, as opposed to passion and purpose. I feel like vocation, which could be passion, is something that comes to you naturally. You know, it comes to you without thought. Whereas purpose is something you seek to have a deeper meaning towards what you are doing. You know, and vocation is not necessarily, or your passion is not necessarily your purpose. You know, so it's something I have been asking myself actually, like, okay, let's differentiate the two first of all. You know, I don't know if it's good to differentiate the two, but for me, I find a lot more meaning in understanding the two differently, how they affect my day to day, you know, and how, because of the difference, how then do I approach them? So yes, vocation, passion is something that quite right comes easily to me. I can pursue, can make money out of it, whereas purpose, regardless, is something you have to do because it gives you a very deep meaning. Yeah.
And also, just to add on, purpose, I feel like it's always been in our faces until you get a hold of it. So you will know deep down, this is what I'm meant to do. It fulfills you as you do it, but sometimes to take us a certain amount of time to accept it and to take it on, to say, this is my calling, this is me, this is what I should do.
Okay. So then can you monetize? I know like passion, vocation, as you've said, we can monetize that quite easily, or not so easily, but you can monetize that. But purpose, are we monetizing purpose as well?
I feel like if you tie your purpose into what you're passionate about, yes, you can monetize it. Also, purpose saves you as an individual and the people around you. So in that service, you could make money out of that.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Yeah.
I agree. I think understanding the two and seeing how you can blend them would lead to you making money out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, this is a show about money, so let's go into the money side of it. How then do I go about, in a practical way, I am passionate about, let's say, interior design. How then do I go about, we've talked about identifying, so I've identified this is the purpose. How do I go about monetizing it? So somebody has never done this before. How do they know how much money to add on it? How do they know who to charge? How to, all those things? What are the intricacies of you starting that process?
I feel like a great place to start is not even to charge. I feel like a lot of people are quick to wanting to charge and figure out, oh, how much money can I make out of this? I feel like what you need to do is just start with a service pro bono, service pro bono, friends, family, and then see how that work that you do is accepted by people, and have a gauge from the people that are accepting your work to then see how you can value. So if someone comes in, for instance, in this place, interior designing, and I'm like, oh, I did this place, and you have 1, 2, 3 people coming to me saying, oh, Tamara, I saw the work that you did and I'm loving what you did, it's quite different. You then now start comparing, okay, what are people used to seeing and why are they being charged for that? What am I giving that's different, and how can I then now, as someone that's new to this, start putting a price to what I do, given the fact that you have also looked into what other people are charging. So I feel like first thing is just work without wanting to make money, as per se.
Okay.
Work, try and see how people accept it, try and see how differently you are placing yourself within the space. Then from there, start thinking of, okay, what value can I put to this? And then when you do put that value, you now start looking at standing for that value. So if someone says that I'm charging 10,000, they're thinking, oh, 10,000 a lot. No, that's the value. Stand with that value. So yeah.
And also, just to take it from, I agree with you, Tamara, don't be too quick to charge, because also that's your learning point, that's you starting. So if you are into interior design, connect with other interior designers, learn from them, interact with people around you and how you can help them beautify their spaces and build from there. But also, when you begin like that, you need to give yourself a time frame, or you need to watch how long you're going to be doing things for free. Because the thing with passion is you love it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it comes natural to you. So it's easy for you to be taken for granted because you are passionate about interior design. People can walk to you and say, come and change this space. And because you already see how things will work around, you are on it, you will do it. So give yourself a time frame that you will learn, that you will research, and that you will build your skills, and then work with that. Even when you start now to charge for what you're doing or the service that you're delivering, then it will be the right time for you to move forward.
Okay, since you're already on this Mwaba, talk to me about trusting your friends and family. Tamara mentioned practice on your friends and family. Can we really trust their opinions? They love us, they don't want to hurt our feelings. So can we trust them as a gauge to tell us, oh, you're really good at this?
That's a tricky one. So I also know that in every relationships, your friends or your family, there are those that will always be honest with you, and those that are very highly critical.
Have you met Zambians?
Zambians are very nice, but there should be even one person that
That's
always
true.
criticizes
That's
you.
true.
So a lot of times we ignore that person
critic.
because you want to hear the nice things, but it's from the critic that you will learn from. Sometimes you listen to what they said and say, okay, yeah, but maybe I should have changed that pillowcase, or I should have, and then it refines your craft, or it refines the service that you are offering to other people. So yes, we're surrounded by very good people. They'll tell you all the nice things, and when you're gone, oh God, maybe she shouldn't have done this. Yeah, but there will always be people that are willing to be honest with you, even if they risk hurting your feelings.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that was great. I want to go into how do we deal with the guilt of putting a price on something that comes so easily to us? But before that, we are going to go to break. This is Money and Me that you're watching on Live TV, and stay tuned.
Key Africans Unlocked Season 1.
Welcome back to Money and Me. This is Jade, and you're on Live TV. Before the break, I had asked Tamara about how she dealt with the guilt of monetizing something that comes so easily to you. So I shared during the break that I would feel guilty because I would do something that came so easily to me. It took me like 5 minutes, but then to put an amount on that, I'd feel guilty. And you were saying that's never your problem.
No.
So how do you handle that aspect of money?
Well, I feel like when you are realizing that you're moving away from your day to day, because I stopped my work, you know, and I started focusing on building this brand, right? And I was just like, okay, what price can I put to it? I was like the most realistic person when it comes to my pricing, because I was like, okay, I need to pay for my own fuel, my car needs maintenance, you know, and this is a company car, you know what I mean? It's maintenance, I need power to make sure that I'm mixing everything, you know, I need to pay people. I'm like, so what are the indirect and direct costs of this? You know, so you do your costing and you're like, okay, for me to make this or to come up with this product or this service, this is how much it costs. Those are your direct costs. And then now you're looking at your indirect costs and you're like, I need to top up so I can cover indirect costs as well. So for me, it's not something that I struggled with, to be honest. I was just like, fam, this is how much it is. You know, I had people who would say, oh, you know, but it's expensive, or, you know, it's a bit too up there. It's just a luxury brand. And I'm just like, well, it's targeted for a certain group of people as well.
Nice.
This is a
if you're not,
businesswoman.
you know, if you're not, then it's okay.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? If you think it's too pricey, then it's okay.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? There will be someone who's going to value the input in this and what it does
Hmm.
and get it. So, no, I've never had that. Never
Oh
had that
wow! This reminds me of there was an episode that Vusi Tembekwayo did where he said you don't walk into Lamborghini and say but the Corolla is cheaper.
Two different brands, two different
I like that.
target
Yeah.
markets.
Okay. What about in the same line of feeling guilty of something? Let me talk to Moaba, especially that you're in this space where you're doing a lot of like public speaking and giving out knowledge. Do you ever feel the imposter syndrome? Like, you know, like this shouldn't be me. Like,
I used in the beginning with my work because it's out of passion, right? So it was easy for me to do it, easy for me to have calls from a radio station anytime. Like there was no structure. Anytime, call me, I'll answer your questions. You can air your program. But then it got me sitting down and I started feeling you know where you're passionate about something but you're tired and you don't
That's annoying
do it.
you.
You
Yeah.
don't do it anymore. So I had to add a bit more structure to what I was doing. You can't call me anytime and expect me to answer your questions. We need to have a set appointment. This is not the only thing that I have going on in my life. So I had to learn how to manage my time. And also because with the work that I do, it's not tangible. You don't see the actual product. And also I'm the brand. Like it's me
True.
that has to come and speak. It's me that has to come and teach. So creating the structure for this was a bit difficult. People, you know, when you start getting traction with what you're doing, there's a lot of attraction that comes to you. Everyone wants to call you, to speak to you, to ask you questions. So I had to be very deliberate about what kind of information I would give out for free. When do we arrange these things? For instance, Sundays for me, I don't want to be disturbed on a Sunday. I'll answer your questions or your calls the next day. So creating that structure was difficult, but it was a deliberate move. Because also you don't want to say no. People like you, they appreciate the knowledge that you're giving, and when they call you, you're like, no, you're busy. But then that was necessary because then I started to feel stressed. I felt like I didn't have time of my own and I'm always thinking. So the structure is important.
Okay, so I've gotten like two things. So structure, you put a structure to what you're doing to your business, especially if it's a service. With you is you factor in all the costs and expenses, both direct and indirect. So this is how then you're coming up with your prices. Where does your I don't want to call it profit, but where do you put that amount that you pay yourself? I have gone to university, I studied 10 years, I have educated people for 5 years. So there's this experience aspect of it. Where does it come in? That you have to charge for, right? You have to charge for it. So like, how do you then like layer that into deciding how much?
For me also, a lot of running a business, any type of business, is you knowing what market you're in, right? So even if you have 10 years experience or 15 years experience, how you will add that value into now charging it onto your client needs to be realistic to the market you're in. Zambia is a very small market for many businesses, whether it's banking or educators, it's very small. So you need to know what market you're in and what's realistic to charge. So there's a lot of research that should go into that and a lot of different factors. Just because you've been around for a long time doesn't mean that you should really price yourself at a premium because you end up going out of business.
Okay, great. Okay, so next step. Now you've got your prices, you've identified all these things. How do you get out into the market? How do you now start letting people know that there's me, there's this, and
I feel like it's a lot of footwork. For me, I value one-on-one buy-ins, right? And yes, in the age of technology and it's social media, that's great. but there's a difference in actually meeting up a shop owner and talking to them one-on-one. And that's something you cannot run away from. You know what I mean? For me, doing products, I quite literally have to approach certain salons or retail outlets and say, I have this product. You know what I mean? This is a product, this is what it does. And ideally, so that they can understand the depth of the product, what I used to do is actually give the retail, the salesperson in the outlet, you know, certain products to try. You know what I mean? Like
samples.
Yes, sample, interact with the product. You know what I mean? How is it? Even when someone gets a goodie bag, for instance, I would give a small sample to the person saying, you should be aware of what you are sharing. Because then the seller of the product or of the service is sold the way you would sell it. Because the person is like,
And they're confident and comfortable with,
exactly.
with the product.
Exactly.
So you're sort of like cultivating an influencer in your own little space, an ambassador.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. For any product and service, you have to ensure that whoever you are selling that product or service to is able to sell it the way you would. You know what I mean? And funny story, I had this this girl who used to work with me. You know, she's moved on to greener pastures, and I'm happy. But she used to work for me, and I had a client in Russia reach out, say, have you changed? Do you have a business partner? Is what her exact question was. Do you have a business partner? Are you doing this with someone else? Because there's this girl, I think Zuchi's her brand, you know, the way she's talking. And I was just like, no.
She's a friend of us. Yes. So
I was like, that's so good. And I
Yeah.
don't mind that. You know what I mean? I'm not iffy about, oh, you know, I'm the owner of the business. And da, da, da. No, I'm just like, oh, nice. She is passionately selling a product because I share that passion with her.
Okay.
It stems from somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Okay, I want to go in and talk to you about packaging. I know I've interacted with the Zuchi products. That packaging is gorgeous. I have empty bottles and things that I still keep because they look so good. After the break, we'll come back and talk to Mwaba about packaging. You're watching Money and Me. Stay tuned for more good conversation. Welcome back to Money and Me with your host Jane, and on live TV we are tackling passion to profit. And before the break, Mwaba was just about to talk to us about packaging. It's one thing to package a product. How are we packaging a service like what you do?
Okay, so with a product, I think it's very easy. You choose your brand colors, the type of the way you want to wrap up that product. But with a service, you have to be a bit more deliberate. So, for instance, if you come to me and you need help with managing your debt. So that's a different package from learning how to invest. So with that, now you need to dive deep into what are some of the things that someone that's in debt needs. How can I help that person? And create a package around that to ensure that you are very you are intentional, you're on point, you're not stretching that package too long, but you're meeting your client's needs. As well.
Okay, and then like, okay, so now you've set up your business, you've packaged it and everything, you're running. Then how do you look at like teams, growing your team? And also one of the things that I find working in a financial space is is it de-risking yourself? Or as a small business, how do you ensure that when the time comes when you want to expand or blow up, that you're credit worthy to the banks and you're, you're not risk averse as an SME or as a startup or as a small business? So you guys can tackle that question. It's twofold: leadership and also outside financing.
Okay, if I could go first. When it comes to turning a passion, first of all, into a business, we get so carried away in wanting to do something ourselves, for starters, that we do not want to bring in people, and our justification is mostly, I don't have money to pay, right? That's always a go-to, and I feel like that's a very wrong go-to. So for starters, it's first of all, you have to realize that if you're really genuinely wanting to make a business out of something, you can't do it on your own, and you don't have to necessarily get a team. You can outsource. There's so many ways of cutting your finances. You just talk to somebody and say, okay, I would like images taken. This is my mood board. Like, you have to look at what type of imagery, what type of layouts you would like, and say, okay, this is what I have. What do you have? And be open to learning from the person you are outsourcing from to cut your costs. Or better still, like, okay, I don't have, I can give you products. You know what I mean? There's so many ways in which you can pay for something, so you don't have to always think, oh, I can't get a team on board because I don't have finances. And you don't have to do things on your own, because a business never grows by one person.
Okay.
And then just on the other side of making sure that you're credit worthy, just keep your records. Like, keep your records. I have pictures or receipts from 2018 up in my PC.
That takes some level of discipline, I would assume.
But you have to, because if you're really going to start a business, you have to take on certain habits, even if you don't want to do them. Like, for me, I was like, finance is not my thing. But I was like, why is it not your thing? What do you mean it's not your thing? Who says it's not your thing?
Look at you.
And
You
so
were
it
so
can just be a thing, right?
Yes, and most people would always say, oh, women finance. There's nothing like that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You have it. Exactly. You've got this. So just take a picture. There's so many apps on your phone that you can literally download and just enter whatever you spend. As small as 10 kwacha airtime. Like, I'm putting it down. Eka sweet 1 kwacha. I put it down and just keep records. Keep records that you can give someone to say, look, this is
how
what
my business looks like.
And they can sort it out for you.
So if it's as easy as keeping records, why don't more people do it? And this is both women and men. Like, they'll come to you and they say, we've been operating for 5 years, but they have no sort of records. Then when the financial institutions keep saying, we need this, they say, no, these people are not friendly to small businesses. They don't support small businesses. Why is that?
You know what I've realized, even especially working in the personal finance space, it's the small things that people fail to do. Save 10%. Hard. The small things, the small habits that people fail to do. I don't know if it's psychological or it has something to do with our mindset, but it takes a lot of being intentional and deliberate with what we are doing. Take yourself seriously as a business owner, however small. So get your passion registered. Keep your records. And your records reveal a lot about your business. A lot. An investor doesn't need to meet you face to face.
Yeah.
Give them your books, your bank statements, and they will know what type of business you're running, if it's profitable, if it's not, if it has potential or it doesn't, because you are keeping track of everything that matters. So
Yeah.
if you spend on transport or gas, I love how Tamara mentioned that her car is a business car. That's an asset to your business, because you use that car to deliver those products. You use that car to go to those meetings for your business. But if you have it in your mind, say this is just a car, you're not even
It's my car.
accounting for what assets are working for your business. Your skill is an asset to a business. So keeping records is one of the most important things that every business owner needs to do. All records when you're filing your taxes, every expense. When you lend your personal money to your business, your business should pay you back. When you get money from your business, you must pay it back, because that's how you also grow and thrive as a business owner. Big companies today, I love the story of Zambif. Zambian company. They started very small, but now they add to the GDP of the country. Yeah. So it's those same things that grow the business, because you're taking yourself seriously as an entity.
Okay.
Can I just add
Yeah.
what she said?
Yeah, please.
She, just to add on to everything Mama has said, I feel like first of all, one of the downfall is that we don't have a culture to cultivate a certain habit. You know, so if you are struggling to actually keep records of small things, you know, it means you're struggling to keep records of different aspects in your day to day.
I
Yeah.
like that.
So when you're looking at why is it that I think the question was, why is it that most people struggle
Yeah.
with this? It's because it's a culture that people are not cultivating within themselves, and are not being intentional about wanting to cultivate it. Because honestly speaking, if you know that you are bad at taking records, you can so easily say, okay, which one of my friends is good at taking records? Oh, Jane is perfect at finances. Oh, Jane, help a sister out. You know, like, what can I do? What practical steps can I do? What's online than TikToking or Facebooking? Look up something.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
True.
Look up something. How can I develop the culture of recording my finances? How can I develop a culture of waking up and just exercising? How can I develop a culture of reading my academic work so that I can achieve this service that I want to learn? You know, like financial services. I'm learning to be a financial service provider. What do I need to learn today? How can I be, you know, learning every day so that I can actually give the service? So cultivating habits is what I generally feel a lot of us struggle with. And the minute you start realizing that you have to do it bit by bit, that's when you start cultivating it, and you start taking more records. You start making more records towards anything,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay. Wow. I was going to say closing words, encouragement, but I do not think that we can add anything on top of that. It's about taking yourself seriously. It's about cultivating the culture that you want to pass through in your business. So thank you so much for staying tuned. You have been watching episode 2 of Money and Me, and today we were talking about turning your passions into profits. To my guests, Tamara and Mwaba, thank you so much. This has been such a fulfilling conversation. And see you next week.